Chair recognizes the gentleman from Van Buren, Representative Shipley, for Amendment H1006 to Amendment H1001.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the Iowa House. Deeply appreciate everyone's sincere commitment to health. It is important that this body deliberate and discuss strategies to effectively protect and preserve health of this body and as our society as a whole, recognizing that truly we are all in this together. This new world where uncertain biological contagion is lurking within every person is indeed very frightening, and this is likely to persist for the foreseeable future. Our health can be very fragile. I mean, we all know this. We've all lived this in our own lives. We cannot take our health for granted, especially with those of particular conditions, obesity, hyperobesity. So I appreciate the intention behind the suggested rule change. I really do. However, I feel this suggestion could be perfected by recognizing the uniqueness and diversity that also exists among all of us. So my amendment would conform the proposed rule change to be more cognizant and respectful of the diverse needs of each and every individual in this building. It would allow individuals an exemption from this rule if that individual has a religious tenet, a philosophical belief, or a medical reason which prevents them from wearing a mask. And this small but important caveat would essentially allow members who support masking, it would allow them to, strictly enforce their medical theories on others. But it would also provide a safety mechanism to protect liberty, the inalienable rights that each person possesses. My amendment language would protect that. Because this is a very interesting impulse. I mean, from my observation in this chamber, we hover somewhere between 85 to 95% mask compliance at any given moment, maybe a little bit less when the senators come in. But this proposal says 90% compliance isn't enough. This rule demands 100% compliance, absent a doctor's authorization. And this is really the language I'm most opposed to, requiring the doctor's authorization. The idea of forcing people to present medical records to avoid complying with a workforce requirement that they believe impairs their health. I'm trying my best to appreciate where you're coming from, but I cannot think of a single instance where it would ever be appropriate to forcefully inquire on a person's medical history for a reason that's unrelated to their ability to perform their job. And I do believe we have a federal framework through the ADA, HIPAA, EEOC, civil rights, which frankly prevents such heinous intrusions into someone's medical privacy. So absent adopting my amendment, I will ask the body to vote down the proposed rule change on that basis alone, because I really do. I cringe and shudder at the atrocious privacy intrusion that language represents. I mean, really, that's super triggering stuff. But I accept you, and I, take deep breaths to calm that stress out of my body. I did want to draw some scientific references to this discussion because scientific methods of open inquiry and rigorous testing and retesting of hypothesis is so foundational. But I don't really want to discuss the risk or benefits of masking as it relates to infectious illness. I'm much more interested in the science of genuine human connection. Genuine human connection, that's a luxury, isn't it, these days, huh? So, our Western Foundation of Science, Charles Darwin, posited in his 1872 book, The Expression of the Emotion in Man and Animals. Reading emotions from a face aids social interaction, reduces misunderstandings, and helps a group function efficiently and harmoniously for the greater good. Let me repeat that. Reading emotions from a face aids social interaction, reduces misunderstandings, and helps a group function efficiently and harmoniously for the greater good. Maybe sounds like something this body could benefit from. Since Darwin first noted this 150 years ago, science has advanced considerably, where it is now widely recognized and agreed that the human face, the complete human face, communicates and conveys a lot of information. In some contexts, nonverbal facial expressions are the majority of communication, all of which contributes to the richness of human interaction, creating genuine human connection. Also, since we are discussing things that are contagious, fear is certainly contagious, as is our behaviors. But you know what else can be contagious? A smile can be contagious. Laughter is contagious. Joy, happiness, love, all are contagious in one vector or another. And just to share a brief anecdote highlighting why this is so important, this discussion, because I experienced last summer my greatest joy in this chamber was when I was sitting adjacent to a former colleague who looked me straight in the eye with a warm, gentle smile, softness, openness, compassion surrounding his mouth, nose, and cheeks. and we expressed our brotherly love that we share as human beings. And it was contagious in the effect that for days that followed, we were freely expressing this brotherly love often and widely. And so as I'm reading it now, this proposed rule would certainly stifle the transmission of smiles, stifle the transmission of joy, the transmission of brotherly love, would absolutely disrupt members' ability to create genuine human connection among all colleagues. And lastly, since I know maybe not everyone agrees with this philosophical premise, nobody is claiming that a face covering provides perfect protection. And certainly, I hope no one here would walk into the Wuhan lab of virology wearing just a face covering. So if this philosophical framework of using the human face to communicate and foster emotional connection makes you uncomfortable or feel unsafe, then by all means, you are more than welcome to don the requisite personal protection equipment with the actual proven efficacy from microbiological and virological contamination. And given the severity of some of the remarks I've heard on this topic, I'm actually somewhat surprised more members haven't taken this step already. So with that, since I am understanding that this amendment H1001 will ultimately not be adopted into our chamber rules, I ask to withdraw my amendment.
Gentleman from Van Buren asks request to unanimous consent to withdraw his amendment. So ordered. Chair, we are now back on amendment H1001. Is there further discussion? All right. I apologize for that, Representative Meyer. I thought when you jumped immediately, that was my fault. Chair recognizes gentleman from Polk, Representative Meyer, on opening comments for H1001.
I apologize for the confusion. Representative Shipley, there's a lot to take in what you just stated. I have no idea what you're talking about on 80% of that. I can tell you I look better in a face mask. I don't know about the rest of you.